In this video, I have combined a compilation of audio interviews taken by the actress and activist of mental health, Taraji P. Henson. She compassionately speaks of her struggles and battle with depression and anxiety in these conversations. She openly shares her own personal journey as well as her father, who struggled as well. She has also addressed Congress regarding mental health, and she also speaks of the diversity of finding cultural representation when it comes to helping people with mental health issues. Taraji has created a foundation in her father's name, the Boris Lawrence Henson Foundation, a mental health scholarship fund for African Americans with majors in psychology, psychiatry, counseling, and social work. These audio recordings are combined by interviews from her own podcast, Peace of Mind, on Facebook, Self Podcast, Variety Magazine, Angie Martinez, and Fast Company on YouTube. There are also conversations with Tracy Jenkins, one of her closest friends, and also Dr. LaShonda Green, licensed psychologist. Let's get started.
I am here out of necessity. I founded this foundation because there was a problem. My father passed away in 2006. 2 years prior to that, my son's father was murdered here in Washington, D.C. That's trauma, not only for my son, but for myself. When he was becoming a young man, not having his important male figures to look up to call upon, questions about becoming a young African African-American male in America. How does that work? What do I need to do? We didn't have it. It dawned on me the reason why we don't have a mini psychiatrist, not that we don't have them, that they're not easily accessible, is because we in the African American community, we don't deal with mental health issues. We don't even talk about it. We've been taught to pray our problems away. We've been demonized for coming out saying we have issues, and we have trust issues. I need the person sitting opposite for me when I go seek help for my mental to be culturally competent. And if you're not culturally competent, how can I trust you with my deepest secrets and with my vulnerability? It breaks my heart to know that 5-year-old children are contemplating life and death. That one is tough for me. So I'm here to appeal to you because this is a national crisis. When I hear of kids going into bathrooms, cutting themselves, you're supposed to feel safe at school. I'm here using my celebrity, using my voice to put a face to this, because I also suffer from depression and anxiety. And if you're a human living in today's world, I don't know how you're not suffering in any way. I mean, if you turn on the news, that's PTSD right there. We need each other. This is me reaching across the table, trying to lend a helping hand in the best way I can. We have to save our children. Okay, let me take you there. So during this pandemic, it's been hard on all of us.
Yes, definitely.
And I had a moment.
Okay.
I had a dark moment. I was in a dark place.
Right.
For a couple of days, I couldn't get out of the bed. I didn't care. That's not me. Then I started having thoughts about ending it. It happened 2 nights in a row, and I purchased a gun not too long ago. and it's in the safe, you know. And I started like, well, if I could go in there right now and just end it all, because I want it to be over, like, but it's in my head, you know.
Right.
Thought about my son. I said, he's grown. He'll get over it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just didn't care. I felt myself withdrawing. People were calling me. I wasn't responding. I didn't care. Finally, I'm talking to one of my girlfriends, and I knew I was smart enough to say, I have to say it. Because a part of me was ashamed. I was like, I don't want them to think I'm crazy. I don't want them to, you know, obsess over me or think they got to come and sit on me, because this one will. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I don't want to be handicapped, and I feel weird. So one day I just blurted it out to my girlfriend. I was talking, she called me in the morning. I was like, you know, I thought about killing myself like that. Oh my God, I feel so much better.
Right.
I'm not going to do it now. For me, I'm no professional, but I felt like if I don't say it, then it becomes a plan. And what scared me was that I did it 2 nights in a row. And the thoughts kept coming. Now I started thinking about how. At first it was like, I don't want to be here. And then I started thinking about going to get the gun. And that's why when I woke up this next morning, I blurted it out, because I felt like after a while it was going to take over me, and it was going to become a plan, because that's how strong my brain is. Our thoughts, they're that powerful.
It is very normal to feel lonely, to not want to do it anymore. There's so many things that we think that are wrong, that are unhealthy, that are absolutely normal. But when you said it, it was probably a very cathartic moment for you, mm-hmm. because you took away the shame.
Yep.
And you validated and you normalized it for yourself, especially now where people are isolated, cut off, and you don't have to believe every thought you have.
Mm-hmm. That's the stuff that wakes me up at night. That's my active brain. But are those mental breakdowns, are they common?
Well, the thing is, the mental breakdown, that's a layman term. So it's not a clinical term. It's not a clinical
term. Clear this up, please.
It's sort of like a symptom of something larger. Mental breakdowns are, for the purposes of this conversation, they happen. Mm-hmm. And I know this is very cliche, but it depends. That's our saying, because it is very true. Mm-hmm. So what will break you down may not break you down.
Yeah, we talked about that.
The problem is it works until it doesn't work.
Yes. What are some of the red flags that present themselves when you are on the verge of a breakdown?
Well, I think noticing your triggers, so having episodes when you're not taking calls, you're staying in the bed later, you are starting to get sick of you more and more and more. There's no personal satisfaction. There's a huge detachment from your own personal sense of purpose. Mm-hmm. And it sometimes can be more debilitating for people who tend to be strong, like they're functional alcoholics. Well, there are people who are functionally, emotionally impaired and continue to go to work every day.
You know, one thing I know about me is that I don't fear change. I celebrate it. And as uncomfortable as it is, I know that when I get to the other side, I want to be a better person. I will have a story to tell that's going to inspire and help and change someone else's life for the better. And that's why when I talk to people, I'm like, if you have a story to tell, tell it. No one wants to hear how easy your fucking life was, because life ain't easy.
And nobody believes you.
Goddamn what color you are, how privileged you are. Life ain't easy, and it's getting harder and harder every day. Mm-hmm. So if you have a story to tell, if you've come through some trials, you need to share it, because you're going to inspire someone. You're going to give somebody the motivation to not give up, to quit. You know, so I like when I'm in these places. When you're in that gray area, you better celebrate that gray area, because coming out of that is your rebirth. It's your resurrection.
Has this happened to you before?
Absolutely, many times.
Oh, so you've had this a few times.
I'm going through it right now. And another thing is, when you see people happy, doesn't mean that they're not going through anything. Mm-hmm. You know,
you came in here super happy. Anybody in this room who didn't know you or didn't have the chance to sit with you and have this like deeper conversation is like, she's like the happiest lady on the planet, because that's what you present as. That's what a lot of people present as.
And that's how you get to the place like, how did this person die by suicide?
I know. Oh, I know.
So that's why I always err on the side of kindness, because you never know. We all have our crosses to bear. Mm-hmm. Some wear it on their sleeves. Some are very open about it. And some choose not to for their whatever reasons. But that's why you err on the side of kindness, because you never know what a person is going through. But what we're discovering is there are a lot of people in pain.
Yeah.
Because hurt people. They have to, because they have to ignore their own pain and trauma. And so that's what it's bringing up. It's bringing up the pain that people are going through. And so to shift that pain, they misguided, they misdirected, and they directed onto somebody else. Mm-hmm. And we know, you know, any human that can pull back and go, you know what? Give them a minute. That wasn't, I shouldn't have said or did. You know, but who has the time to slow down? Like the news cycle is, you know what I mean? Something happens, you're like, the next thing it's something else to worry about. It's so much coming at us in light speeds, moments. Like, we don't have time to heal from one to the next.
No, it's nuts.
How we, you know?
It does make me feel better if I think I'm going through something or feel it's
and you hear somebody else.
It does. I'm like, oh, okay. So,
well, you're never alone.
Yeah, no. Sure.
And that's the thing about this mental health piece. No one is alone.
Yeah.
I don't care. I can sit up here and smile in your face and you know, I'm going through shit. At the end of the day, it's about fighting for your joy and finding it. Because yes, life is going to throw you curveballs. Yes, it's unpredictable. But at the end of the day, you have it. Some people ain't waking up to figure it out and make it better today. You know, some people, they checked out and that's what they got to go home with. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So the fact that you're still able to wake up the next day and try again, that's all you can do as a human. As long as you're learning along the way and you're not turning back. I'm proud of myself. I feel very proud to be able to look in the camera and say, I'm not that strong. Like, I'm fighting for my joy. Every day is a fight. Every day is I feel like I'm fighting for my life, you know, because I feel like so many people look up and they're counting on me. You know what I mean? I don't feel like no hero.
It's okay, baby. You want to take a second?
I'm not a fucking hero. Like, I'm not perfect. I'm a human. I'm flawed. I'm trying to figure this thing out every day. And it just, for me right now, it just seems like it's getting harder and harder. But is it my perception? Is it what I'm putting on it? Is it, you know, when you get into a dark place, you can compound yourself with the darkness, you know, and it's all about your thoughts. And it's like, am I doing this to myself? Is this happening in real time? I'm finally to a place in my life where I just need to just like go, whoa, everybody stop. Don't cut none of this shit. You know why? Because people need to see it.
There's somebody who is in the same place you are or worse and doesn't have you've done a lot of work on yourself. You've done therapy, you've read a lot, you traveled the world, you know, you have the ability to say, I'm not good and I'm going to shift and I'm going to do these other things. There are people right now that are not good, but they don't know
how to say it.
They don't know how to say it. They don't even have the capacity to kind of understand what it's going to take to get you out of it. And so you sharing that, I think, is really important because we have all been there.
As I go through stuff, and a lot of times I don't want to talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's triggering. But I just want to be in a safe place where I can just be me, wherever I am right now. It might not be the best me, but it is the version of me.
It's always the best.
And the fact that I'm being accepted and celebrated in this version of me is what's important. Mm-hmm. And that's what keeps me going. Right? Because then it dispels the perfection. I have to be or look or, you know, my friends don't care. They will pull up on me. If my hello sounds off, they will pull up on me. I don't care what country I'm in. I remember when John Single passed away. I was going through a lot. And then that happened. And my best friend did not she said my hello sound weird to her. She flew from DC to Vancouver, pulled up on me. She said, yeah, I don't trust what you're saying on the phone. I need to see. You know, Mary would do that.
I think that is a very important thing for people in life. I've talked about this on the show. Like, the people that we choose as friends literally change your life. They literally lift you up. They save you when you need to be saved, or they bring you down. Or they bring you down. Bad choices, right?
What I find disturbing in our community, the African American community, is that we can talk about a thyroid, we can talk about cancer, breast cancer, AIDS even, but we won't deal with the mental. I struggle with depression and anxiety. I would have to say I realized it about 2 years ago. I noticed the mood swings. Like, one day I'd be up and the next day I'd be down, feeling like I don't want to go out in public, almost agoraphobic, like, too much to deal with. Feeling really awkward in my skin, feeling out of sorts, and just down, like Debbie Downer, like a dark cloud. And then there would be days where my brain wouldn't stop racing, I would think of the most worst scenarios in the world, which would heighten my anxiety. And, people were like, you just need to meditate and yoga and things like that. And I would do that, but my brain would still race. For me, there was no shame when I started to recognize it. It was like, I have to get some help because I'm the life of the party. And when I go dark, I go dark. I don't want to leave the house. And my friends started to notice me pulling back. And my father, who also had his issues with mental health, was really open about it, about his manic depression. But as I think back, no one else really talks about it. It was hush hush, or he just crazy, or things like that. For my dad, what he needed was a culturally competent therapist, and it's not even about the skin color or the race. It's about being culturally competent. And the reason why we can't find culturally competent therapists is because at home, in the African American community, we don't talk about mental health. It's a stigma surrounding it. And when you have no one to talk to, what a person usually do is they will try to self-medicate. We're just not allowed to be vulnerable. We have to be strong all the time. This is 400 years of damage, 400 years of trauma that we have not dealt with. And the way we deal with it is be strong. Put on a strong face. Nothing's wrong with you. You don't have mental health. You're not gay. You're not allowed to be human. That's a lie. We hurt and we're suffering. When you think about the trauma the African American community has been through since we've been brought to this country, we have not dealt with that. And then you get to these microaggressions that are happening right in front of our faces every day on television. Women's sons are being taken from them for no reason at all. And through that, we still have to be strong. How fucking dare you? How dare you? How dare you put that on me? I felt pressure to be strong as a Black woman in Hollywood because I kept hearing that term. Everyone kept saying, be a strong Black woman, strong Black woman. Then I realized that's a myth. It means that I'm some superhuman in some kind of way where nothing affects me, and that is so far from the truth. Sometimes I don't want to be strong. Sometimes the weight is just too much, and to put on that facade like you're strong all the time, that's exactly what it is, a facade. That's whack. You have to be human. And human means you're vulnerable. And human means you're layered. And I had to just get control of it. And, what I started to do was started making me feel good about it. It's not keeping it in and talking about it, because if you talk, maybe things will get fixed. I felt such a relief when I finally said it publicly. Like, I suffer from this. People it was an outpour. It's an outpour. People, it was like they were like this, and all of a sudden they felt free to speak on it. When I got back above water, when I stopped suffocating myself, I was drowning. And once I released my truth, once I spoke my truth, I started to float back. That's what it is. It's luggage, it's baggage, and it will weigh you down. You better pop those trunks and get that mess out and deal with it. It's okay. We're human. No one's perfect. The perfection is the perfect lie. When my therapist said that, my wings sprouted. The pressure of trying to be something perfect, which doesn't exist, is crazy. Let go of that myth. When I'm vulnerable, or I'm scared, or I'm having these non-pleasant thoughts, I let it run. Because if you muffle it, it's only going to resurface again. So you have to kind of let it run and play out like a faucet. Just let it run until the water runs out, and then when it's over, you pick yourself back up. Because, your mind will play tricks on you. I talk to myself. And I think more people need to talk to themselves because you work things out. And it's not, people can call it crazy, whatever. I even catch myself doing it in public, and I have to stop. But it's just a way to work things out. And it's okay. It's okay. Long conversation with myself in the mirror. When you have issues and you have no one to talk to, and the walls are closing in, and the voices are getting too loud, what I notice is people will start to self-medicate because you want to feel good, right? So then they turn to alcohol, they turn to drugs, and we're seeing this with the youth a lot. I'm a celebrity, and at this point, everybody kept asking me, do you have a charity? And I really couldn't find anything that I was passionate about, and then I was like, this is it. You know what I mean? Because this is something I'm really passionate about. This is something that is a necessity for me. And so we have to break this cycle of keeping our mouths closed. So I called my best friend, who also has a lifetime of suffering with anxiety, and that's when we decided to birth the Boris Lawrence Henson Foundation, named after my father. So I think he'd be really proud. I felt such an urgency to do something. I felt like it was my mission to give back to these children because they're having coping issues. And so my foundation is what we're trying to do is we're trying to get these babies while they're kids. So we infiltrate the school. We get counselors in there who can see a child dealing with a traumatic situation at home, because these kids come to school from trauma, from traumatic situations at home, and we expect them to learn, to sit down and focus. I'm speaking up now because we are facing a national crisis. I want people to know that it is okay to seek help for mental health. There is nothing wrong with it. You go to the dentist, don't you? You go get your yearly checkup. Better check on your mental. Our vision is to eradicate the stigma around mental health in the Black community by the Boris Lawrence Henson Foundation. I named it after my father, who suffered with mental illness after his tour of duty in Vietnam. Our vision is to eradicate the stigma around mental health in the Black community by breaking the silence and breaking a cycle of shame. You see, we were taught to hold our problems close to the vest out of fear of being labeled and further demonized as weak or inadequate. Our vision is to change that perception. Our goal is to normalize how we think about mental health by advocating and raising funds for more culturally competent counselors in urban schools, social workers and competent counselors and social workers in urban schools, trauma-informed curriculum in order to break the pipelines to prison, and scholarships for those young people interested in the field. See, our people don't know about this field because we don't talk about it at home. To ensure that we have enough soldiers to fight the battle. Our children experience trauma at home, on the way to school, in school, social media, TV, basically everywhere they hold space. The number of Black children between the ages of 5 and 12 who have died by suicide has doubled since the 90s. This is a national crisis. I'm sorry. My dad is one of the reasons I started this foundation. And my son, and my neighbor, and my friends, my community, our children is why I keep going. The struggle is real. The history of mental illness for Black people in America stretches all the way back 400 years. 15 million people in an ocean that holds the stories. That's a lot of healing to do. Because we need it. We don't talk about it. And I realized that when I was searching for therapists and psychiatrists for myself and my son, and I couldn't find any that looked like us or that appeared or seemed to be culturally competent, I realized it was an issue because our children don't even know to study in this field because we don't talk about it at home. And it's such a taboo. And we're dying. It's killing us, this stigma. And I felt like I was in the right place in my career. I have everybody's attention, and so I should do and say something. And I felt like, for me, there was an urgency because I am a privileged woman. I've worked my way into great financial success, right? So I can afford doctors, therapists, I can afford it all. But at the same time, even though I'm privileged and I have the means, it was still an issue. I started thinking about the millions of people who need the help, who can't afford it, who can't get to it, or who just are too afraid to say, I need help. And I don't know, I was compelled to do something. Well, first of all, there's so many stigmas surrounded around mental anything when it comes to us, people of color. Because for so long, we've been told to pray our problems away. We get demonized. Do you realize when we get the diagnosis, people of color always gets the worst of the diagnoses, right? We don't get the privilege of being bipolar. We get schizophrenic. You know what I mean? Like, if we have an episode, 9 times out of 10, we're going to get killed. You know, so we're not even safe to have mental disability. It's a disability. Like, it's something that I actually need medical help with, but I'm demonized for it. So that's another thing why we don't talk about it, right? For fear of what's going to happen to me, right? They're going to see me as weak. We have normalized our trauma since slavery. We have been dysfunctional since then. And that's how we've been operating. We've been passing down the normalization of our traumas. It's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to feel like crap. It's okay to say, I don't want today. I can't today. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay. Because what I can't do is act in real life. I get paid to do that. So in my personal life, if something is off, I have to address that. I can't skirt past it because it affects everything I do. I am a person that I gotta be here and here. You know, people expect that from me. So if I'm not checking in on me and taking care of me, how can I be of anything to anybody? How can I be of service? How can I service my fans, the projects, the work, if I'm not taking care of me? I can't act in real life. I don't even know how to. I have been deemed the best party favor. I have been deemed the life of the party. I'm the light in the dark room. I'm the bubbly. I'm the one that's like, yay, everybody, let's laugh. Come on, get over it. And when I found it harder to be the light, when I saw my light doing this, and I felt like I was in a hole that I just kept sinking and sinking. Then when I started having suicidal ideation thoughts, I was like, something ain't right. I'm so full of life and something's just off. I don't feel right. I feel out of my body. And because the type of work that I do requires me to check in. I have to. Again, if I check out here, I'm checking out in the script, right? And I think because I have a friend who has been so open about it, that I just felt like I could just talk about it. And I was like, the more I have to get this monkey off my back. So it's almost like I had to shout it to the world. So I could be like, oh, it's not a secret anymore. And then once I did it, I started seeing more people talk. And I was like, that's why if you have a story to tell, you must tell it. We need each other, humans. We make the world go around. I learn from other human stories. I learn from other survivors. Like, if you don't share your story, where's the roadmap? How do I know?
That's the end of this video. I hope you were encouraged and inspired by the audio from Taraji P. Henson. She is so passionate about speaking her truth and sharing her stories in an effort to help others, and I inspire to do the same. I will be leaving in the description box the information for her charity, the Boris Lawrence Henson Foundation. Although I am seeing a new psychologist, and I am very happy with her, I must say, I know I would be happier if I actually had someone that looked like me. So what she said in regards to cultural representation, it would mean everything to people of color to have that representation in the mental health care sphere. Again, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a blessed day and be well.